brought to you by BoardGameAtlas.com, the fastest growing board game community in the world. Kia ora koutou and welcome to the 3-Minute Board Games update on our Shelf of Opportunity. It's been a while since I've done a video on the Shelf of Opportunity, and I haven't done one with me sitting in front of the camera. What I thought I'd do today is just run through all the games we've got that I have to get through. Like, it's a lot, so I won't waste too much time. We'll just jump straight into the game. So the first one is Charterstone. Now, Charterstone is a game I've been meaning to play for bloody ages, but one of the big problems with Charterstone is it requires a serious commitment by a bunch of people over an extended period of time. Now, I don't really have a group that's keen to do that, nor am I really keen to do it with the amount of work I have to do with the channel and the amount of games I have to get through. So, been meaning to do this for ages, to do a legacy 3-minute board game review as well, which would be quite cool. Fortunately, there's the app coming out real soon, and I've been playing that, so I think that'll give me the number of plays I need to be able to use the map in here for the review, because one of the problems with doing a review of the game is you have to put stickers on the map, and that kind of ruins the map. So fortunately, I've got a blank side of the map that I can use in here, and yeah, let's see if we can't get a video of that done. Looking forward to it. Next up, we have Gizmos, which is a game I picked up quite a while ago. It was on sale at a local store, and I really like Potion Explosion and engine builders in general, and this had a little bit of that Potion Explosion thing going for it. It's actually a CMON game, which is weird because they do Gizmos, they do Potion Explosion, and then they do a whole bunch of big mini games. So really keen to try this one out, just hasn't got to the table yet, and I've had it for about 6 months. Next up, we have a Wii game called Bees. Bees is just one of those Wii card games. I got sent it when I was sent a copy of Nemesis, and I just haven't really got around to playing it, but I will give this one a go. Seems light, seems pretty straightforward. Not much more to say about the artwork on the cards is bloody nice though. Next up, we have another one of those games that I found in a discount bin. This one was about $20. It's Deus. And the reason I was recommended this one and why I decided to pick it up when I had the opportunity was that someone said it was like Wingspan was it Wingspan or Tapestry? It was one of those games. They said it was one of those games but slightly cooler or slightly better, but just not as well produced. And that I found that really intriguing, so I thought, it's $20, I'll give it a go. We still haven't had the opportunity to let it hit the table, but looking forward to it. Here we have a big one. This one is Mothership, and it has arguably the cheesiest slogan I've ever seen on a game. That is, divert all power to fun. Now this one is a big space epic-y game where you have a lot of ships, you're flying around, you're blowing each other up. It actually looks quite fun. It's not a serious like 4X like Twilight Imperium or Eclipse or anything like that. It just looks like a dogfighting, mess each other up kind of silly game. This one will be absolutely awesome for my regular group of guys. Unfortunately, we won't be diverting all power to fun anytime soon because of the lockdown, so I'm not sure if Steph and I will get to play this during that time, but kind of intrigued by this one. Next up, we have Rush MD. Now, I'm a big fan of Kitchen Rush. It's just up on the shelf. Here we go. I'm a big fan of Kitchen Rush. And Rush MD is the medical version of Kitchen Rush. It's like a second edition reimagining of that game. Yeah, bang that back on the shelf. I don't own this one. This one was lent to me by a good friend of the channel, Conan, who I borrow a lot of games off, especially Kickstarter ones. Him and his flatmate both backed this game at the same time, so they had 2 copies in the house, and he was like, seeing you going to lockdown, why don't you give this a go? And I was really keen to give this a try. So this one, definitely would have liked to have tried it with the guys before the lockdown kicked in, but I think Steph and I will have some fun with it, and if we don't, I'll play it solo. Might even record that because that'd be daft. Then we have Patriots and Redcoats, which is quite hard to tell because it's in a deluxe little wooden box. And this is a two-player, I think it's two-player. I haven't really had the opportunity to have a very good look at it. Game about bluffing and loyalties. Actually really tiny little box full of cute things. Those little neoprene playmat. Yeah, this one came with another game. They're like, hey, we want you to review this game. And I was like, cool. Oh, and we'll give you a free one to go along with it. I'm like, well, okay, fair enough. Don't guarantee I'll have a look at it, but you never say no. Although with the amount of games I'm going to be showing you over the next wee while, I probably should say no more often. I do say no a lot. And maybe I could potentially have said no to U-Boat. But boy, was I intrigued by this. Like, this is a fabulous looking game, a real-time submarine warfare game, and just the shits and giggles. Like, the actual submarine that comes in the game is like, oh, it's kind of busted up a little. It's legit big, and I really, really want to play this one, but this is one I won't be able to solo. I'm going to need a good crew of guys who are committed to play this, or a good crew of people. I normally refer to the guys because it's one of my regular groups. They're all friends of mine from high school. We've known each other for 20 odd years. And this one I think would be really good with them. But I'm not going to see them for a while, so this is probably going to get parked on the shelf of opportunity for a wee while. So sorry, Phalanx, I really do want to do a review of this game because I think it's really intriguing, but not for a little while. Then we have one of the more interesting Wii games in the collection, and that's Far Away. This one arrived like 2 days before the lockdown notifications happened. And it's a two-player cooperative game about being stuck on a planet in the middle of nowhere. And it's got some interesting ideas behind it. One of the things in it is you can only communicate when you're in the same hex with people. And the map's made up of these hexes that you assemble throughout the game. But it's... I'll just show you. Like, some games come with a lot of air in the box. This is... like absolutely crammed to the rims. It's one of those games where you unbox it and you're like, how the hell do I get it back in there? And I'm going to have to jam the lid back on because I'm in a hurry. But you can only communicate when you're in the same hex. So if you're out exploring, you've got to kind of come up with a plan when you're together and go off and do your own thing. So it's got this weird, quirky dynamic it's trying to explore. I'm curious to see how that works. If that's like a strength of the game or absolutely mind-blowingly frustrating, whether the game would be impacted if you didn't play with that rule or whether it's like absolutely integral to the experience. So fascinating game, not a big hit or anything. This is one of those ones where people reached out to me and said, hey, do you want to review this game? And I'm like, I've never heard of it. So, and then I had a good look at it and I was like, actually that sounds different. That sounds like you're trying to do something unique. It's not just another dungeon crawler. It's not just another worker placement game. You're trying to do something quirky, and I will always turn my eye to things that are a little bit quirky, just out of interest. I found some really fun games that way. Next one up is Paradise Lost. Now, Paradise Lost is a really kind of odd Wii game. It's like Cluedo, crossed with Talisman, and it has this massive freaking board too. It's colossal. And it comes with these really lovely sort of pewter figures as well. But it's like the evil White Witch is doing up to no good, and you've got to figure out who her accomplice is. And you do that by traveling around the board and getting clues and, trying to solve the game. So it's like a reimagining of Cluedo, with a few bells and whistles and a modern design aesthetic to it. This is one... Nice box fart. This is one that I think my friend Conan in particular would really like, and his group would really like, because they love that in sort of narrative-y, fantasy-themed sort of games. Definitely want to give this one a go, but not sure when I will, because I don't know how well Cluedo games work with 2 at the moment. So, shove that one over there. Then we have a game that Steph went out and bought for herself because she saw it and was like, ah, Jaws, ah! This is like one of her 3 favourite films of all time, along with Gosford Park, and I'm going to get in trouble because I've forgotten the other one. But she absolutely loves Jaws. This is from Prospero Hall. They did Horrified, and we adore Horrified. Horrified was a fantastic game. And Prospero Hall just seemed to be putting out really solid IP games, like, constantly. So, I don't know really who they are. Like, they sound like a design collective or a design shop or something, but really kind of like to find out more about who the people in Prospero Hall are, because they're making some really good games, some real fine stuff. I'm definitely part of the crew that's getting rid of this whole outdated concept that IP games have to be kind of rubbish. So yeah, really looking forward to Jaws, and this is one we can definitely play 2-player. So absolutely expect to see a review of this at some point. Probably from Steph, seeing it's her game and, you know, one of her favourite movies. Next we have Alien Artifacts. This is another one I found in a discount bin. I'm actually finding a lot of Portal games in discount bins in New Zealand, and I've got no idea why. It's not like Portal make bad games or anything. I'm a big fan of Robinson Crusoe, and I actually liked First Martians. A lot of people apparently didn't like First Martians, but I thought it was pretty damn cool. This is kind of similar to 51st State or Imperial Settlers, but it's entirely card driven. So if you've played either of those games and Race for the Galaxy or Race for the Galaxy, it's in that sort of space. Really keen to give this one a go as well. I picked it up simply because of the pedigree of 51st State. I really like 51st State. I like sci-fi. I like Race for the Galaxy. Yeah. Bit of a no-brainer, that one. Oh, yeah. And here we have one of the most requested games that I get and play, and that's Brass Birmingham. Pick this up. I really want to give it a go. It looks really cool. I've not actually played Brass before. I've not played the original. I've not played this new version. I've never played any Brass. I have no Brass. Sans Brass. But this has been one of those games that in the comments on videos and other things, people are like, oh my god, how have you not played Brass? And I'm like, well, I know it's good. I know it's really good, but well, I know people tell me it's good. It might turn out that I think it's absolute garbage, but it's just, sometimes I just don't get to games. So we will get to Brass. Steph hates point salad games, so may not get to it during the lockdown. Moving right along. We have, oh look, it's a Portal game I found in a discount bin. The other one of those is Stronghold, by the way, which I have played and I did enjoy. So this is Theseus the Dark Orbit, which is a kind of weird rondel game. I've cracked this one open and read the rulebook. I've set it up and done some auto turns just to have a look at how it worked. It seems intriguing. It seems really different. I mean, I'm not familiar with another game quite like it. It's one of those games that probably could have been an abstract. The theme does seem kind of weird, like why can I only go one direction on the spaceship? But still curious to see how this plays with a group. But I think, judging from my first impressions of it, it seems like a 2-player game, and really only a 2-player game. And the 3-player and 4-player games are a little bit weird. So curious to try this one out as well. Digging down, we have Scorpius Freighter, and oh, guess what? This was in a bargain bin. Yeah, but there's a local game store that quite frequently puts games on a discount table, and I kind of walk past and pillage them. I wait until there's like games that I've heard are like somewhat good, and I go in and pick them up. I don't have a lot of pick up and deliver games in my collection. I've got Jar, and that's about it. Yeah, Jar Legends of the Drift System, and that's only kind of a pick up and deliver game. So again, sci-fi theme. I'm a sucker for those, but I think this is one I definitely want to play with a group. Definitely want to play with more than 2 people. So this one might be a little while. One of my great shames is that I picked up a Kickstarter version of Near and Far for way less than what the Kickstarter cost, and was really excited about that, and then never got around to playing it. I really do want to play this game, but I kind of want to do the whole campaign. I kind of want to just jump in and do the whole damn thing. This might be our lock-in campaign game. I'm thinking about pitching that to Steph and saying, hey, love, do you want to play this? It's kind of cool and cute. Otherwise, I don't know when we're going to get to it. And I really want to get to it. I've really enjoyed Ryan Lockett's other games. I really like Empires of the Void 2 in particular, and Above and Below. So this looks cool. And maybe I'll have time for it now. Yeah. Then we have Expand City. I found this gum like a broken record in a discount bin. This was about 40% off. I don't know anything about it aside from it looks kind of cool and I like the idea of it. Looks like a city building game where you build towers up. That looks fun to me. Right, moving right along, we have Tiny Epic Galaxies and Expansion. I picked these up because people kept going on about the Tiny Epic Galaxy games. I played Tiny Epic Zombies and really didn't like it. I've played one game of Tiny Epic Galaxy solo and I thought it was alright. Again, it's when I get a group together, it's like, oh, do you want to play a Tiny Epic game or do you want to play an epic game? And most of the time people want to play a more epic game than a Tiny Epic game. So I'm not sure if we'll get to that anytime soon. I might just crack it out and give it another couple of solo plays. See if it appeals to me as a solo game. And we have this wee thing, which is Project Dreamscape. Quite an obscure wee game. This was given to me by Sarah, who is the designer and publisher of Oaxaca. This was the very first game they designed and published. And I'm sorry, Sarah, I just haven't got to it yet. Apologies. I really appreciate the gift and that you decided to send me one of the last copies of your first game because of how much I like Oaxaca, and I kind of feel shitty that I haven't got to it, so apologies. If it makes you feel any better, I got given a copy of Endeavour, and I've known Jarrett, the designer, for nearly 20 years, and I only just played that last week, so there's that. On a similar note, we've got Sensor Ghost, which is sent to us by the publisher of Assembly, which is Janice Wren. Janice is a very lovely person, and I've been meaning to get to that one as well. Assembly I really enjoyed. It was a really cool primarily solo game, or quite good with two people, and Sensor Ghost has a lot of the same DNA as that. You can check out our Assembly review, which we did, to see a little bit of the flavour behind this company and their sort of ethos. So probably the next couple of weeks I will get to this one, just because it's soloable. And we have one I picked up off a trade stand at a convention, and that's Set a Watch. I actually don't know much about this game at all. I just sort of picked it up, looked at it and went, oh, that name sounds familiar. Rock Manor Games. I'm sure I've got something else of theirs. Maximum Apocalypse, maybe. Yeah, I don't really know much about this, but it was $10. No, it was $5. It was $5. And I was like, that looks quite good for $5, but, you know, we'll see. Then we have Pret-a-Porter, which I have actually played, but I haven't played my copy. So I don't know if this one counts. Now, this will be an interesting one for Steph because she likes business games, she likes the theme of this and the design of it, but she also hates point salad, so we'll see how this works with her. But I really enjoyed my one play of this. This is not one I got in a bargain box, so running counter to the normal Portal Games theme on this list. This is one I paid full price for because I was quite interested to get a copy. Conan had a Kickstarter version of this. I played around at his place. Thought it was ace, so look forward to a review of that. Alright, all you people who told me I'm the worst person in board gaming and an ignorant savage because I've never played a Stefan Feld game, it's Castles of Burgundy. And I have played it, I just haven't played this version. This version's still unpunched. I played this at a convention. Well, not this. I played Castles of Burgundy at a convention with a whole bunch of expansions put in. I did all right in my first game, and I really enjoyed it. So, for all the Stefan Feld fans out there who have been giving me grief for never having played it, screw you. But also, yeah, the game's really good. It's worth playing. It was really enjoyable. It's just not worth calling someone an imbecile over. Alright, moving on. Puerto Rico, is it? No, it's not Puerto Rico. It's Puerto Rico. It's New Frontiers, which is weirdly a Race for the Galaxy is like the card version of Puerto Rico in space, and this is the board game version of the card game version. It's kind of like Puerto Rico, but space. I've been a big fan of the Race for the Galaxy series. I enjoyed Race for the Galaxy quite a bit, although I thrashed on the app, so I've kind of overplayed it. I really like Roll for the Galaxy. It's one of my all-time favourite games, and really looking forward to this. My regular group of lads, they also like both Race and Roll, and none of them have played Puerto Rico, I believe, so it should be a new experience to them. Oh, we have one of the longest surviving games on the shelf of shame. I picked this up over a year ago, and I still haven't got around to it. Yeah, really popular game. I don't know why I haven't got to playing it. Yeah, no idea. But it looks fine, I guess. I honestly don't know. Picked that up out of peer pressure, basically. We have another game I got in a math trade. I traded away a bunch of games about a year ago, and I still haven't got to Whistle Stop. I don't really play train games. I don't know why I put this down on my list. Like, train games aren't really a thing I do. I guess it kind of looked cute at the time, but I just haven't gotten to it. Oh, all sorts of Bezier games. I don't know how you say that. But the guys who do Suburbia and Castles of May King Ludwig, which are both games I really dig. That's probably why I elected to trade for it. But honestly, that was 14 months ago. I've got no idea. Also from that same math trade, I got Quantum, which I have played once before, but I haven't played this version of the game. So Quantum's really neat. It's a very clever little design. I think it's actually quite hard to get these days, which is one of the reasons I went for it in the trade. But yeah, I haven't managed to play this with either of my groups. I don't know whether this one will ever appear on the channel, simply because I don't think it's that available at the moment, and I don't like covering games that people can't just go out and get. Which kind of makes me regret doing Nemesis now that I found out that no one can actually bloody get the damn thing. But oh well, I didn't know that at the time. Then we have Hannibal, Rome versus Carthage. I was about to say Hannibal versus Hamilcar, but that's the other one. Which I don't have. Got this off a trade table for very little money, but it's just one of those games that you need the right opponent, and no one has sort of stepped up to play it. Oh, a friend of mine, Andy, does want to play it, but he's been so busy the last year or so that just hasn't been an option. Hopefully, once the quarantine lifts, once the lockdown lifts, we will be able to get to that one, which would be ace. Then we have Black Angel. I found this one in a discount bin because I don't know. Yeah, there we go. See that nick down there? Tiny little dent in the box. Yeah, that took 45% off the price of this. So, I mean, I'd heard reasonably good things about it being quite a solid Euro game. I've heard comparisons to Trois, which I've heard is another very good game. And it just looked really stunning. I like the artwork, I like the design, I like the idea of what I've seen of the game, and the price was right. You never can look past a good price for a game. Apparently it's quite like Trois, as I said, and also picked this up. And I picked this up solely for one reason. My favourite board game reviewer is a channel called Alas Board Games. Alas Board Games is a surreal review channel where the whole thing is done by a character called Jamie Duat, and he is a burned out, jaded European aristo-trash exile who drinks far too much cognac and laments about life's difficulties while reviewing board games. And his board game review of Trois absolutely sold me on the game, but that guy could probably sell me on anything. Absolutely love him. Shout out to you, homie. Alright. Then we have Atelier, which is a little painting game. I really quite like the aesthetic of this. I kind of like the theme that you pick up colours, you add them to your think it's very sort of Bob Ross. This is a dinky wee one that I asked for a copy of from the publisher, just because I really like the look of it. I like the theme. I thought it was different. Definitely get a review of that out in the foreseeable future, but we'll get to what games we're actually reviewing in a little bit. What else have we got down here? Ooh! Parks. Now, I picked this up the very day I found out the country was going into lockdown. I thought, I should probably go support my friendly local gaming store. I'll go buy a game at full price. And the one I picked up was Parks. And the reason for that is I'd played it once before at our work games club, and I really enjoyed it. If you're familiar with a game called Tainted, if you're unfamiliar with Parks, but are familiar with a game called Tainted, it shares a lot in common with that, but it's just a better game. Like, there's more game decisions in it than Tainted, which can sometimes feel a bit arbitrary. This is a beautifully presented game, and I think one of the best low complexity games I've ever played, so I was really happy to get a copy of that. Yeah, it's just stunning game. Oh, spoils for the review, I like it. We have Cogs. Now, Cogs was a game that was sent to me by a backer on Patreon, and Cogs is a very unusual concept for a game where you're trying to assemble... except if I can find the wrong book. Bear with me. You're trying to lay down patterns and assemble things, but you only have 3 of these tiles in your hand at any time. And when you place one, you have to take one. So you're reshaping this puzzle map as you go through the game. And the idea, I think, is really clever. Like, it seems like a really simple, clever sort of game. So I'm really keen to try that. Steph's really keen to try that one as well. And I just kind of like the idea that someone's like, hey, I hear you like games like puzzle games and stuff. Here, try one. And I'm like, sure. Give that a go. Next up we have Burgle Bros, which came with another game that I'll show you in a minute. Burgle Bros is a game I've heard a lot of really good things about, mostly from solo gamers who talk about Burgle Bros being just a really fantastic small box solo game. I'm like, fantastic small box solo game? Sign me up. However, I still haven't got to it. And we have Terraforming Mars Turmoil. I've played a lot of Terraforming Mars, mostly on the app lately, but the PC version doesn't have any of the expansions, and I just picked up Turmoil this week. I don't think I'll get a game of this while the lockdown is in effect, but I'm really keen to see what it adds to the game eventually. Until then, it's vanilla Terraforming Mars online. We've got a couple more down here, and these are the other 2 games that came with Cogs, and they are Banishment and Castle Poker. I don't really have much to say about them, aside from they came in the same package as Cogs, and Cogs is the one that really caught my eye. I'll just stack those over there. Next we have Ketos. Ketos is a game that's coming to Kickstarter really soon by a local publisher. He lives about an hour's drive up the road from us. And this is just a really simple card game, word game, using cards. But oh my lord, it is one of the most legitimately fun games Steph and I and my friends have played in ages. It's one of those games where I played it, and afterwards I was like, well, why isn't this in every bloody toy store? This should be sold alongside Uno. It's just really fun, really addictive. You'll find out more about that when we do a video on it, but keep an eye on this one, because wow, like, I wasn't that keen. Like, when they pitched it to me, it's like, oh, it's a word game. I'm like, oh yay, it's a word game. But we played it once and we're like, wow, this is serious fun. Alright, we have one more game. Too Many Bones. Ow, that was really heavy. So Too Many Bones, really heavy game from Chip Theory Games. But this is one, again, I'd really like to play with the regular bunch of guys. I think that they would really enjoy this. They love RPGs, they love chucking dice, they love character building, they love all that kind of stuff, and I think this will be one they'd really enjoy. So not too sure how long this lockdown's going to go, but when it gets out, I really want to play Too Many Bones with my crew. I'll just move that one over there. Right, and now I can talk about the games that I have played and that we will be doing reviews of in the foreseeable future. We have Dale of Merchants, Collector's Edition. This is like a high-powered deck building game where there's a whole bunch of options and a whole bunch of variety. So it's a sort of a reworking on conventional deck building. Think of it as deck building for pros of deck building. If you're sick of other deck building games, you might get something out of this one. A lot going on in that one. We also have Terra Mystica. This copy of Terra Mystica is Sam McDonald. Sam McDonald's the designer of Architects and Paladins and Viscounts of the West Kingdom. He loaned it to me. We're now in lockdown. This is his favourite game. He's not going to see it again for some time. So spare a thought for Sam for being such a good guy and loaning me his copy of Terra Mystica and then not picking it up when the lockdown was announced. What a top bloke. I'm really sorry, Sam. I really should have gotten this back to you before that all closed down. Another big one. Yep, so Chip Theory Games, they sent me a copy of Too Many Bones, and they also sent me a copy of Cloudspire, which I have gotten around to playing. This is really a different game. It's interesting. It's tower defense, and you send your guys off like on pre-programmed routes to do things, but oh wow, the variable powers and the ways you can build your factions inside this game are really intriguing. Curious to see how it would have played with more people, because we only did like a couple of 2-player tests and a 3-player test, so I didn't actually play it with 4, and I don't think I'll get the opportunity to before we put the review out, but I might simulate a 4-player game and see how that goes. I've done the testing for this one. This is good to go. I just would have liked to have done a bigger 4-player test. So my experience with the game will be based entirely on 2- and 3-player counts. These games are too big. Why are they so big? And we have the Reckoners. This is a sort of Elder Signy dice manipulation game where your characters are roaming around on a board trying to defeat a bad guy and rolling and manipulating dice. Spoiler alert, it's really, really good. I love this game. The Reckoners is a really cool game. So, Nauvoo Games, bloody good game. Yeah, so when I go to review this, I'm going to give it a really positive one. I really dug the Reckoners. We will get to it, and I will show you a bit more about the game then. Oh yeah, it's got a Dice Tower Seal of Excellence. Might get something else. We'll find out. Quacks of Quedlinburg, which we've managed to play a couple of times now. I can see why this game's exceedingly popular. I can see why a lot of people love it. I wasn't one of them. I thought it was okay. That's about it. I thought it was okay. Like, I don't quite get why it's the most earth-shattering game ever made, but there you have it. Oh, and speaking of games, Endeavour. So Endeavour was designed by a friend of the channel, Jarrett Gray, and his friend Carl DeVissa, and I'd been putting off playing this for a while. I was slightly nervous because the game has slavery in it and it's got a colonial theme, but it was also designed by a friend, so I was like, I really want to play it because it's designed by a friend, but I don't really want to play it because slavery and colonialism aren't really my cup of tea. Wow, this is... I should have played it ages ago. It's actually a bloody good game. The slavery's dealt with reasonably tastefully, but we will, when the lockdown is lifted, have Jarrett over here on the podcast, and we will talk about Endeavour. We will talk about the tough issues inside it, and that should be a really interesting conversation. So that'll be myself, Conan, and Jarrett in the room talking about a whole bunch of things, but also a lot about Endeavour. And last but not least, the final game we're going to be reviewing out of all these, and that is, listen up, yo, it's a Sabotage! And I've kind of built myself a fortress here. So Sabotage, we played this 4-player, 2-on-2 with Steph and I on one team and another couple on the other team. What's hilarious is Steph and I were much better at communicating than the other couple, so that led to some interesting tension. I've put it around the wrong way. It's hard to tell. There we go. Sabotage. So look forward to Sabotage in about 3 minutes in a short while. So, yeah. I'm not sure if I can get out of here now. So these are all the games I've either recently played and I'm going to be doing reviews of, or that I've got to work through. Which ones do you reckon I should get to first? Which ones do you think I should absolutely just go throw in the bin right now? And if you enjoyed this video, like it, subscribe to the channel, support us on Patreon, listen to the podcast, check out our website, and most importantly, wash your damn hands and stay inside if you can. Take care.